Hi everybody, I want to do a quick follow-up to my expansion video the other day. So this is Oak Hill. Here's the door to the room. This is a bookshelf. There's a very short section of wall between that. And you see that this is angled. This wall is angled, so it's not like a square room. The door is on an angle. This is a closet door, which I use every day. So can't cover that up. There's the blue tape. So this is the area that I have to expand in. I took some measurements of it. So basically it is 26 inches from the end of Chillicothe. This is the real end of Chillicothe, not this little extension, to the wall. It is 114 inches from that wall to that blue tape, which is as far as I can go. Now I can go, like if I had a little staging yard or something here, like 2 or 3 tracks, I could go all the way to the wall if I wanted to. So it is possible. I just can't block the closet door from opening. So that is 26 inches from the blue tape to the wall, if I needed to utilize it. So what I'm thinking, and I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. So this is the Chillicothe yard. I've got it upside down because when I'm looking at Chillicothe, my module, I built it looking south, not north. Because wherever was the biggest industry, and I didn't want to have to reach over wherever, basically. So this is looking south in Chillicothe. So this map is upside down. The industries that I model are down here. Douglas Avenue. This is Watt Street. So this is the Chillicothe yard. This is CSX map. This is what they abandoned. It's got the date on it in 1988. So basically they abandoned everything. This is the Norfolk Southern line. They left a connection here to come around, and so Norfolk Southern can serve the grain elevator. Now, so it had a turntable. The roundhouse at that time only had like 3 stalls. They tore all the buildings down. These are what they call the boneyard. This was the shop tracks, because Chillicothe had car shops till the pretty end. This is the aerial photograph of it. I've laid it out the same way, basically. So if I was going to model the Chillicothe yard, and again, this is the area I'm modeling is down in here. So if I wanted to be prototypically correct and model Chillicothe accurately, then the yard should go here. They would build trains in the yard. They would go across Watt Street, which means that this would have to move or be destroyed, whatever, go down Switch Chillicothe, and then any train that was going to Oak Hill would leave Chillicothe heading east, and it'd go through 40, 50 miles of railroad. It'd finally get to Hamden, and Hamden it would get on the old Portsmouth branch and go down through Wellston, Jackson, and finally to Oak Hill. So Oak Hill would make more sense there. However, right now, this is the north end of Oak Hill. I modeled Oak Hill facing east. If I turn Oak Hill around, this would be the end that the trains would come in. So they would come in from the south, not the north. Not a huge deal, but they would be coming into Oak Hill the wrong way. One thing, as a couple people have noted, Maurice noted, right now I have a problem with my switch lead. Not long enough for Cedar Heights Clay. Well, that would solve that problem, because this would now be over there. So I would not have a problem with the switch lead for Cedar Heights Clay. I'd just be coming in the wrong way. Obviously, the easiest thing to do, since I'm pretending that the yard is east of this area now, would be to just put the yard here. Just say it's like a mirror image of it. That way I don't have to move Oak Hill. If I did move Oak Hill, so what I have to worry about, so This is a separate standalone module. The Grassy Fork is a standalone module. So it basically unbolts, you know, like right here. This is the end of Chillicothe, and it goes straight across here. It's not easily movable, but it could be moved. So this track right here, I would have to worry about the distance from the backdrop, because it now has to line up with these tracks, and it won't. I can tell you right now, it won't line up. This track here, where it comes out, would be basically, you know, over here. So I have the options to line it up there. But if I moved Oak Hill here, see, that's going to change the whole orientation of it. I can't just pick it up like it is. So basically this track here would now made up with Oak Hill down here. And that looks like more of a possibility, but still it would require some changes. So I'm thinking, if I decide to model the Chillicothe yard, that I should just do it over here and just pretend that's where the yard was, because that's what I've been doing anyhow. 99% of the people don't care, aren't going to realize it anyhow, only the Chillicothe natives. And again, if I had built this all at one time, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, if I decided I was going to build this and I knew how much space I had, I could have had, you know, a dog bone. I could have had this come out for a loop and then come back and have another return loop here if I wanted to. Don't know that I would have. You know, I'm just not a big fan of loops. The one railroad I did have where I had completed the loop, once I completed the loop, I just did nothing. I just watched trains run on the loop. And I quickly got bored. And then we moved, and so, you know. But anyhow, so what I'm thinking, and I'm not totally dead set on it yet, is the Chillicothe yard. Another reason for doing that is these are my locomotives up here. Every time they're in-scale locomotives, the handrails are kind of delicate. Every time I put one in the box, take one out of the box, I'm knocking the handrails off, you know. So if I had the yard and like engine facilities, locomotives could stay on the layout. I got a picture I want to show you here. So this picture was actually taken in 1979, about my era. So that's the turntable. What's left of the roundhouse is behind us. But there's a couple N&W engines on there. I have no idea why there's an N&W engine there. But I could have my engines displayed there, and just whatever one I decided to use, I could use. One other thing when we're in this, because it's just a bunch of talking, someone else came up with the idea of why not come down here and then have a peninsula come out. So sort of make a G-shaped layout. So I'd have a peninsula right here. Well, I've got to get to this closet. So I can't come all the way to blue tape, obviously. Another thing is I have 2 chairs in this room. Oh, I need 1 chair in this room. But this is the chair that I use to work on my workbench, and I rolled over to the computer. I would love to get rid of this rocking chair. That's not going to happen. So it's pretty crowded with 2 chairs. And if I came out with this peninsula, so I'm not saying I can't do that, but if I do it, it's not going to be to the blue tape. It's going to be, you know, more out here, and it's not going to come really far out. There's a possibility I could stash the rocking chair underneath the layout, because I hardly ever use it. But anyway, those are some things that I'm thinking about, some design considerations, because people wanted to know, like, what's on the opposite wall? Well, now you can see what's on the opposite wall, and can't block the door. I'm not interested in a lift-up bridge into the room. My wife comes in here too sometimes. There's computers in here. Can't block those doors. And while I would love to get rid of that bookshelf, that's probably not going to happen either. So anyhow, I'll post this probably Friday morning. Sorry about the length of it, but at least now you understand some of the things I'm facing in my expansion designs. Sorry about that. I accidentally hit the stop button on the video. real quick, this is the Chillicothe Depot. It'd be a pretty intensive scratch building project for me. It was a pretty unique building. Can't see kit bashing that. And one other thing that Scott said, if I did have the peninsula here that came out, I could split it. So the back half of the peninsula could be like a hidden staging. We have a backdrop going down the middle, freestanding backdrop, and then I could have something out in here. But I just don't know what I can have in there. But it's another possibility, another really good idea. And one last thing, I will probably redo the backdrop on the whole thing. Oak Hill may stay the same. I like that one, but this Chillicothe backdrop is going to go. That's one of the Walters backdrops. Those hills aren't that great. So I would probably either do something from Trackside Scenery, Jerry Ricard, or I tried to get some more of these things. The only problem with these is the seams. They're only, what, a couple, 2.5 feet long or something, so you can see all the seams if you look close. Right, to have something with less seams, I think, would be longer, and have something with a continuous backdrop all the way around. All right, I've talked enough. Questions, comments, always welcome. Appreciate everybody's ideas. I hope this gave you a better idea of what the space I have, what my design thoughts are. And again, I'm not sold on the Chillicothe yard, but I could have another town full switching and just have this like be another scenic area. But I do need to have some off layout staging somehow. I don't want the trains to always be visible. I can do an out and back to Oak Hill and back, but and if I have the Chillicothe yard here, there's no way I'm going to have any off layout staging. So that's another consideration, another reason why it might be best to have the yard over here. It gives me more options. Everybody stay safe.